Working with children and animals is always said to be a no-no. However, as a police officer, you don't have much choice. This is where Beaconside Primary School stepped in to help.
We've been working alongside the police and Paul with his CID team, I think it is, and they've been coming into school working with some of our children in Year 6 and younger children to practice their interviewing techniques. So the police officers that have been great, and the children have really enjoyed working with them. They've had lots of interesting questions, and I think the police who did come in found it worthwhile speaking to real children and seeing the kind of answers that they do get when they try and probe for answers. And so really, Paul, from then, we've done this a few times throughout the year with different teams of officers. And he sort of then came up with this idea that we could maybe take this a step further and provide the children with a bit of an experience to kind of like top off the year. And you know, they've had so many questions and wanting to know more and more and seeing what it's really like and the more kind of exciting parts to being a police officer. So he's organised well as much as he can, I think, with the drones, the police dogs, and the armed response vehicle. We haven't told them that that's happening, so I think they will be a little bit shocked when they do see. But I'm sure it'll fire them up and they'll have lots of more questions to ask, as children do.
The officers needed to learn the skills to be able to interact with children, as this is an important part of their job, and the pupils offered more than enough questions and answers.
A couple of times a year we run interviewing courses for vulnerable adults and children, and I used to go to Beaconside School, so it was the first place I thought of to ring up and ask them to give us a hand with it, really. So a couple of times a year we bring groups of officers to the school and they basically get a practice at interviewing children, but when I say interviewing I mean engaging with children and speaking to them about their day, what they're doing at school, all that kind of thing, and just building a bit of rapport with the kids, because not every officer has kids, and even if you do, it doesn't mean you know how to interview them. So that's why we bring them here and what we're doing. It's absolutely fundamental to the course. We couldn't do the training without coming to the school. We can't speak to children without actually practicing and speaking to the children. So it's fantastic for the course, but the kids definitely get a lot out of it when we come. Every time we come, they're really pleased to see us. I mean, usually it takes them a while to realise that we're police, although we do tell them straight away, and the school tell them in advance that we're the police. But obviously, if you dress like this, most of the time, children don't associate that with the police. So once we've explained that, they immediately start asking questions like, have you got a gun? Have you got a dog? Have you got a helicopter? And they ask all those sort of questions, which is part of the reason we've brought most of those things today, so that we can show the kids that side of the policing. Well, that's definitely the reason we're here. We need to be able to interact with children, and we need the children to see people like armed police and dog handlers as just police officers that they can go and speak to if they need to. Just because the person has a gun or a dog, that shouldn't be any barrier to a child to communicate with them, and that's hopefully what by the end of the afternoon we'll have achieved.
To help the children understand that all officers are approachable, Cumbria Police organised a day with different units coming to the school.
The guns make me a little bit nervous.
It looks very, very small.
The dogs are cool and the drones are cool.
We can fly it 500 metres away from us, vertically away
same as the Mars. Yeah, it's really cool. It's been very interesting, like getting to know about the police a bit more. And it's just been interesting to know what they do and how they protect us.
Armed Response and the dog unit really engaged the children. However, they were a little nervous that some officers had guns. Sam Smedley, That's TV.